Hey everyone, welcome back to Throne Rod's Garage, and in this video I'm going to be working on this 2013 Ford Focus ST. Now this is a beautiful little car, and I was told from my boss that he was driving down the road, oil pressure got real low, and by the time he got close to the house, it lost a lot of power and it was steaming from under the hood. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood and check things out real quick. Snail. Now this is a 4-cylinder turbo, hence the snail. Oh, I left the cap off. I did top it off. I checked underneath here just a second ago to make sure I didn't need any coolant before I started it. And I went ahead and topped it off. So put the cap back on. It is wet all along here and up in front. I have a sneaky suspicion it is that water pump, because even the alternator's wet way down below on the K member is wet. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing fired up and see if it is leaking from the water pump or if it's leaking from a hose somewhere. So I'll be right back. Let's see what she has to say. That's really good oil pressure, especially for really, really cold. Oh, yes, I know. It's got a tire sensor fault. Yeah, I'm aware. The engine's on. And yes, I know the hood is open. What's next? Driver's door? Yep. It's open too. Check engine lights on, so I'll have to check that. Turbo noises. But anyhow, it is holding really good oil pressure. Let's go see if it's leaking any coolant. Would be really nice if it is the water pump. It is spitting up right now. Oh, you see that? Zoom in. It's the water pump. Thankfully, those water pumps are very easy to replace. So I'm going to go ahead and go pick up the water pump, some coolant, and I'm probably going to take this thing to the shop because I don't want to make a mess underneath in the parking spot. So thankfully the shop is just about 1.5 miles down the road, and I'll make sure it doesn't overheat as well. And it'll be a good idea to test drive it and see if it does lose power still. Well, I am back, got the parts, and I decided I'm not going to drive it to the shop for the simple fact that my tools are in my truck. So I figured I'll just get a drain pan, a whole bunch of cleaning supplies. Shouldn't make too big of a mess because I'm going to lift up the car on the side that the water pump is on, and it was fairly low on coolant. So I'm hoping that with that almost a full gallon that I put in there, it's still plenty that it went in the block. I shouldn't lose too much, but I have a pan down there just in case. I have a light so I can see, water pump, 2 gallons of coolant. So let's get to it. Just for the simple fact of space, I mean, this is my hand trying to get down in here. I'm going to go ahead and pull off the water pump pulley, which has got 3 10 millimeters. And of course, take the serpentine belt off after I break those bolts loose. And then I believe it is 3 8 millimeters that are holding the water pump on. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the water pump pulley, show you what it looks like, then get ready to pull the water pump off because I can't do all of that while trying to record with the camera in the way because there's just no space. Now I placed the water pump pulley out of the way to set on top of the engine. I don't have a work cart here, but my hands are too big to fit in these tight spaces, so I pulled out the belt tensioner that sits right here. It just has 3 10 millimeter bolts that hold it on. I got the water pump pulley out of the way. Now I just have to get those 3 bolts out and make a big mess. Okay, I wasn't able to find a pry bar, but if you work it back and forth with the screwdriver, it will come out. Now, with that being said, this one looks like it's been in here for, you know, from the factory, so it's pretty corroded, but oh yeah. There we go. There's the mess. I hope I'm catching it in the pan. Oh yeah, I am. Most of it. Just twist ever so slightly, and boom, it's out. It was leaking from this little weep hole right here. Now I'm back here at the back of my truck. You always want to double check. Make sure the fins are all going the same way. This is supposed to be a reverse rotation water pump. They do offer another one for a different 4-cylinder in these Ford Focuses, I think for later models or earlier models. But always make sure that everything is just like the old one before you put it back in place. Bolt holes all line up. Yep, I think we're good. The old O-ring is still on this one. The new one I put in place already. I am going to lube it up so it slides in easier. And then it's just a matter of topping off the coolant, firing it up, see if it leaks anywhere else. I hope not. And as you can tell down there, it's got the new water pump. Water pump pulley's on, belt's on, tensioner's back on. Coolant is, well, it says it's between max and minimum, but I'm going to go ahead and start it up. I do have it jacked up still, so it can allow the air bubbles to come up into the reservoir and help burp the system better. So I'm going to set the light down and fire her up real quick. I went ahead and backed it out so I had better lighting. Didn't help me much, but there is no leaks down below. Everything is a little wet still, but that's no problem. It is still full. I'm going to go ahead and slap on the wiper blades. They are torn, you can tell. And slap on the new wiper blades. Make sure everything's buttoned up. Put my tools up and go for a quick test drive. Running good so far. Temperature staying where it needs to. It's holding good oil pressure. Running pretty good. Not overheating. So I'm going to go back to where it's parked and I'm going to check the check engine light. I can't do it while recording because I do it through my phone. I forgot my GoPro at home today. But at least I can make a video on this with my phone. So I'm going to check the check engine light, make sure the fluids are good, and we may be able to call this one good. Right, I checked the check engine light. It was just no 2 sensor. Went ahead and cleared the code just to see if it would come back on. Sometimes it can be just a fluke with these turbo cars. Anyhow, the oil pressure is a little on the concerning side. So this is at idle, at running temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and see when the last time was that I changed the oil. Maybe the filter's getting a little clogged. I don't know. I'm going to go through the logs and make sure and see the last time it was changed. I do have enough oil for it. I bought that, but I didn't grab the oil filter because I thought, no, it's not drove that much, but I'm going to double check. Well, it looks like last time I changed the oil, back in April of last year, at 95,000 miles. It has 100,000 miles on it. I like to change them. I mean, it is full synthetic oil, but I'm a 3,000 mile kind of guy. Regardless, oil gets dirty, the filter gets clogged. Better safe than sorry. So I'm going to run back to town and I'm going to grab a Motorcraft oil filter for it. I already have Mobil 1 530 in the truck. Got plenty of it. So I'm going to back this up, clean up where all the antifreeze had spilt that my hand didn't catch, and get it ready to change its oil. All right, I'm going to crawl underneath here and get the oil changed. Drain plug is a 15 millimeter on this one. Let's see if I can do this without dropping, losing. There we go. Let that drain, and I'll get the oil filter. I'm going to put the drain plug in. Now these EcoBoost 2.0 liters, they hold 5.7 quarts. New Motorcraft filter, it is filled up. The old O-ring is still on the old filter. Ta-da! Oh, check, yes. The other filter still has the O-ring. I cleaned it off up there, but I wanted to make sure that everything is good. Now the other quart that I topped off the oil filter with, I poured the rest, well, the other half of it in there. There wasn't a full 3/4 of a quart. So, I'm gonna add this, the 5 quarts, since it calls for 5 3/4 quart. Here goes nothing. Oil pressure is looking pretty good. Now the temperature is still a little low, only because I had to go to town and get the oil filter. We'll see what the oil pressure is like whenever it gets to running temp. Well, there we have it. Full running temperature. Oil pressure is a lot higher than what it was, so call it good. Well, with that being said, the oil pressure is good now. The check engine light has not come back on, so I'm going to shut it down, check the oil level, make sure it's good and full, check the coolant level, and make sure everything else is topped off, ready to go for them. And I think that's about it for this car. I mean, the water pump, which was not too bad at all. Oil change, got the oil pressure back up. It was due. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm a 3,000 mile kind of guy. Yeah, it's synthetic, you can go longer. Filter still gets dirty, but that's just my preference. But anyhow, I appreciate you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, let's go.